Inside, the lights are low. This isn't your typical lounge. This is where the forgotten tales gather, where the shadows have their say. We'll talk of monsters in the woods, of killers with a motive and lights in the sky, and ghosts in the attic. Come into the waiting room, please.
Tonight, we got a fabulous guest. We got Austin from iSPOOK Paranormal. And Austin, the whole team wants to know, how did you get into the paranormal? What made you so interested to chase ghosts and stuff?
Well, about 5 years ago, I was in the United States military. I was in the Army. I was stationed at Fort Bragg in North Carolina. I've always been interested in ghost hunting and all of that. I watched Ghost Adventures and all of that. So I was interested, but I never did it. So my friend, his name is Tyler, convinced me to do it with him one time. And then after that, I just fell in love and kept doing it and then meet different people around North Carolina.
You know what's so interesting? Phil and myself, we're veterans. Um, I was in the Army for 12 years. Every military installation is haunted um, because of suicides, sometimes murder, accidental training accidents. Um, and I've always been interested in the paranormal, and I've always sought out, like wherever I was stationed at, Fort Jackson, South Carolina, Fort Hood, Texas, whatever. And I found out people were seeing ghosts. Did you ever investigate a military installation?
No, I was close. So when I was on Bragg, I was with the third group. So they had their own little defect over there, and I was a cook. And they always tried to they were talking to me about investigating the defect because they had little experiences, but I didn't get to that point. I don't it's the defect was always running, so I couldn't get approval. But what someone told me on Fort Bragg, there's a little area where it's like a house or a mansion that was abandoned on Bragg. I'm not sure what it was, but they told me that that area is haunted because somebody killed themselves over there, which I believe what they told me.
Hmm. Well, that's
This
interesting.
was this was on base. This was a home on base.
Yeah,
So this might have been old officers' quarters, maybe.
I believe so because it was kind of like a mansion, but like a house. It was abandoned. No one they didn't do anything with it, but it's all closed down. Despite their
Yeah,
training area.
it sounds like it. You when you drop the word mansion and base together, and I'm automatically thinking like general's quarters or something like that.
Yeah, I heard it's a pretty big house.
Very cool. That's a shame you didn't get to check that out. Would have been
I
a
wanted
cool just to, yeah.
I wanted to. I was trying to find it, but no one would tell me the exact location. But I don't know. I tried to find it.
And so, Austin, you've been interested in the paranormal what since you were a kid, or what?
I believe I became a paranormal freak when I was in middle school, but I've watched it when I was in elementary, flipping to the channels. That's how I watched. It's like I became a wrestling fan when I was just randomly flipping. So I became a ghost fan by randomly flipping. But I didn't really like ghosts until like middle school. And when it wasn't paranormal, but it freaked me out because I had water with ice in it. So the ice was all stuck together. So when the ice was melting, the ice dropped and it scared me. And then flipped out, ran to my mom, was like, I can't sleep. There's a ghost in my room that just moved my glass. But now you think about it, it was ice that was melting.
Have you seen full body apparitions, or what type of evidence have you been getting on your paranormal adventures?
I had this new device called a direct link, and it's kind of like the SV7, and I don't know. I love that device so much. It gives me clear response. It has echo, so I'll be able to hear it several times. And I was in a jail, and I was telling, "What do you want to do with me?" Trying to find out who I'm talking to because this is jail. It's a bunch of things that happens there, and it tells me it wants to kill me. So I sat there. I was like, okay, I never got that response before. And then all of a sudden, I was like, that wasn't very nice. Why you want to kill me? And I don't know why I asked it like that, but I usually get responses off the SB7 and all that. Apparitions, I caught one on my phone. It was in North Carolina. It was at the Jack Martin house, and it was right in the middle. I took like 3 photos. 2 photos didn't have a shadow, but there was one right there in the middle that stood out. And I went to other investigators because I was still new, and they confirmed that it was a shadow. So I was like, that's my first time catching something like that.
Okay, so I have a question. What is the SP? What are you talking about? SP7? I'm
Oh,
old, so I'm old school when it comes to paranormal investigation. I don't know about
oh,
all this newfangled stuff.
the Spirit Box SB7, the direct link that's made by someone else, but he worked with other teams. It's kind of like the SB7, but it's like it's hard how he described it, but it's kind of like SB7 where it goes through the radio stuff. But he said there's 2 holes and you cover it with your thumb, and it gives off your energy. And when it gives off your energy, it uses your energy through the box itself to get a response.
Oh, and where did you get that from?
I think he has like ITC devices, I think.
Mm-hmm.
ITC devices. If you search up the
Oh,
direct link with LINC, you'll find so many things that he has offered.
sweet. Are they
And
pretty good priced? Have you looked around? Are they good price for your money?
it's it depends on what you're looking for.
Ah,
It's like $100 something all the way up to close to 400.
okay. All right. Thank you. I was just
Yeah,
wondering.
no, you good?
um, so, what are some of the notable places that you've been to, Austin, to investigate?
I've been to the USS North Carolina. That's the biggest one I've been to. The USS North Carolina. I went to the Trevette Clinic. That's in North Carolina. I went to a museum that was in West Virginia. I don't remember the top of my head what's it's called. Uh, I've been to one. I went to 2 different jails. I'm about to go to a third one, but I went to the old Hamilton County Jail, which is in Jasper, Florida, and I went to the old Gilchrist County Jail in Gilchrist County. So those are like the most notable I've been to. And I just recently got back today from St. Augustine. I did an investigation yesterday at one of the houses they have there, and I had pretty good activity, but that's pretty much like all the bigger stuff I've been to.
Where'd you
Austin, so you're from Florida then, right?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. So is Phil.
Ah,
where'd you go in St. Augustine?
what's the house name? It's by Ghost Augustine. The house. Hold on, I can bring it up.
So have you been to Matanzas Inlet up there?
Fort Matanzas?
Yeah, Fort Matanzas.
No, I haven't. I really want to go there. I don't know if they do paranormal. Do they do paranormal?
Well, you just got to go there by yourself. Catch the little. It's just a ferry that takes you right across. You can't go to the island yourself, even if you have like a canoe or something like that. It's federal property. You have to take the. It's like a pontoon boat that they take you over there with. But it's interesting, and the history of the massacre that happened there. It's
Yeah.
Well,
but that's pretty. So how far away from St. Augustine do you live?
3.5 hours.
Oh wow.
I live close to Palm Beach.
Oh wow. So you're further. I'm in Flagler Beach. You're further south than I am. Then
It's just past Flagler Beach. Yeah, I stopped there to get a drink real quick. But I heard there's a lot of stuff in Flagler Beach and Ormond Beach.
it's a tiny town. Ormond Beach is interesting because that's the last residence where Rockefeller lived and died. His the Casements home is there where he died. It's also like the birthplace of speed, which is where Daytona got its name. Daytona is right next to Ormond Beach, but Ormond Beach is actually where the whole speed trials thing started.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
It's interesting. One of the prettiest roads I've ever been on in the entire country is in Ormond Beach. That's the historic Ormond Loop that I take with my convertible all the time. And it's like going back in time because the canopy of the old oaks in the Florida jungle just encases this thing for miles, and it goes all the way from right where Ormond kind of starts at the edge of the end of Flagler. You go down this road called High Bridge, and that's where it kind of starts, and it's gorgeous. It was an old orange plantation, and you make this left, and then it takes you out, and it leads you all the way, and it bottoms out at the Casements, where Rockefeller's home was, because he once owned this entire area.
Wow.
So it's a hell of a drive. Bikers take it every year, Biketoberfest, and during Bike Week. It's a real people from all over the world with Harleys or any type of bike really just always have that's a loop that they have to do with their bikes.
That's awesome. That's the first time I heard about that.
What about Austin, what about the skunk ape? Do you get many reports about that? Because I got a friend he swears. I mean, he's not the type of dude to, even talk about this type of stuff. But he said him and his wife were driving down in some road. Phil made me think of. He said where like it's not like the freeways out here in the Bay Area. It's like you drive and it's all kind of trees and it's like swamp. Like he said, it's like really dense. The road doesn't even look like normal. But he said that he smelled something like that stunk real bad. He said he was like it was like a mile. He just kept smelling it, and he was telling his wife, and he said that they saw something go across the road that was really big, and look, he said to him he thought it looked like, but he didn't even know what the skunk ape was. That's what I was thinking it was, but he just said he thought he saw some kind of Bigfoot creature going across the road. So I was wondering if you have many reports of like that type of thing down there.
I have gotten no reports about it. I have a couple people on my team that does the cryptids and follows all of
Okay.
that.
Okay, nice.
I usually just do the ghost hunting stuff. I
saw you got a lot of chapters, man. Like different, how does that work? I want to ask you about that. I saw it was iSPOOK, Georgia, iSPOOK, Washington, or whatever, the different chapters you had.
Yeah, so I have 3 teams. I have iSPOOK Florida, which is the main team. iSPOOK Washington is the second team, and iSPOOK Virginia, which is our third team. That's where we're currently building up. But we have Washington team doing something tomorrow on their investigation. They're going to a theater, which is their first time, and actually, this is theater first time as well hosting any paranormal. So this is a huge opportunity for everyone to start doing stuff over there and collecting evidence or whatever the owners is looking for. So, but the Florida team is actually the main team, and I have promoted the Get Real tour, and it's about just having fun and collaborating with different people from different states. So the Florida team is going to Georgia in October, and then we're planning another trip to, I believe, West Virginia, I believe, for St. Albans.
Okay.
I believe that's in West Virginia or Virginia.
Okay.
And
I noticed you got it going, man. I mean, like, please keep going. But I noticed that your promotion, the way you have your teams, the way you have like involvement. I don't know how you learned that, but that's like a good edge, man. I was impressed by that.
thank you. I think it's more of a military thing that's in me because the military, you know, they're always on you. So to me, I'm always like, yo, now, gotta do it now, gotta do it now, gotta do it now. If not now, if later, then that's too late. I'm just now, just do it now. Let's see if people like that. If people don't like that, let's try something different. But I'm always throwing stuff out there as a test and all that. If people really like it, I'm gonna hit it. I'm gonna start planning more stuff and start promoting it more. And ever since then, like people just been excited for iSPOOK coming to different areas, saying, "Oh, I'll buy a ticket," which I don't. That never really happens to me. So when I hear that, I get in disbelief. Like I don't really believe that, but it's right there in front of me. So I'm just like, are we really impacting other people or other teams? That's what I keep going through my head.
Have you been to the Henry Flagler Museum in Palm Beach? You said you're down by Palm Beach, right?
Yes, I'm about like 40 minutes north of Palm Beach. I live in Port St. Lucie.
I
So
know where St. Louis is. Have you been down to the Henry Flagler Museum in Palm
I have
Beach?
I have not heard about the Henry Flagler Museum until recently. I was we partnered up with a tour company in St. Augustine who's they're new. So she was telling me all about the Henry Flagler stuff in Palm Beach. So we're gonna check that out and see the museum ourselves pretty soon.
Yeah, I was going to say that what you ought to do is check out that Henry Flagler Museum in Palm Beach because that was his really grand home. Henry Flagler, for anybody else who's on the call and knows nothing about him, because most people outside of Florida don't know, is he's the guy who basically developed Florida. Florida was not developed at all until Henry Flagler came to town in the late 1880s. And what he did first was he created the Ponce de Leon Hotel in St. Augustine, which is now Flagler College, which I'm sure Austin just saw while he was there. And it's a beautiful college, and it was at one time the most luxurious hotel in the world. He did it because he came down from New York. He was Rockefeller's partner. In fact, he was the brains behind Rockefeller. Rockefeller, gets all the credit. He was the guy in headlines, but the guy behind the scenes, the real cutthroat businessman, was Flagler. Flagler was a monster, a real vicious guy, business wise, right? And he had like 3 or 4 wives and was estranged from his son and his family. I'm kind of like one of his wives went crazy. He married an actress after taking care of his first wife for years. And you know what happens when you marry an actress? That's never going to end up well. So, but it real colorful thing. But when he went to Florida, he decided to develop Florida, and what he did was he created hotel chains. Basically, he started with St. Augustine, worked his way through Ormond Beach, down to where you're at, Palm Beach, which is the museum now, and then went all the way to Key West and created that bridge, that long bridge to Key West. That was the original one, was a rail bridge to Key West, and they consider that feat like just as great as the Panama Canal, if not greater, because that was like open ocean bridge that they had created back then. So really an incredible story with that guy, but it would be so cool if you could do a video or something. If I had the time, if I wasn't working my ass off in the normal job and everything else I got going and floods and all that stuff, I'd love to do it myself. But the Flagler Museum, and then cut back up here again, the stop along Ormond where his other hotel was, hit the casements, do the historic scenic loop, and then end up back in St. Augustine at Flagler College. Man, that would be just an awesome, people in Florida would dig it. I don't know if the rest of the country would even care, but I dig it. A lot of history, a lot of ghosts too with there, especially with the St. Augustine part of it. But I figured anything with Flagler's got to have some ghosts.
Right. That's
Hey, Austin. So you just do ghosts, you don't do UFOs, cryptids, demons, because a lot of our cases are demons, and we do a lot of UFOs, and we've done cryptids like Bigfoot and stuff like that. Do you have people who contact you who need help, and they might say, "I have a demon in my house"? What do you do in a situation like that?
so in all of like iSPOOK existence since last year we started, we only had one residential, which was close to Orlando. She'd been trying to find somebody, and she contacted a guy named David Sloan. David Sloan contacted a guy that used to be on my team, so he just passed it on to me. And so we organized a residential. She believed that it was a demon. It's that everything was being thrown at her. She was reporting scratches. She was reporting the TVs cutting on, and then at some point during the process, she was saying that she believed the TV was talking to her. So we went there, we looked around, we did a little interview with her, and we decided to to look into it. So we had her leave the house at first, and nothing really happened when she left. Nothing really crazy happened. No, not much activity at all. She came back, the activity got a little bit more going, a little bit more active. Uh, I found out that I believe that it was some type of attachment. I have no idea what attachment it was, but I directed her to talk to someone from the church to get clean and use sage and just basically keep cleaning herself and all that, and tell her that don't bother her, stand her ground, and don't let anything try to take over and affect you.
That's good. At least you sent it over to the church. We do our own cleansing. We do a Roman Catholic house blessing using holy water and crucifix. We also do full submersion baptisms, which is a basic form of exorcism. So if a person has an attachment, the attachment is going to leave. Um, one of the things I want to ask you is, what do you think about orbs? I mean, orbs can be almost anything: dust, lint, light refractions, dewdrops, whatever. But um, do any of your investigators or yourself think that orbs are paranormal?
Half and half on the team. I'm very hard to like. I look at stuff, and I look at how the camera is, how the camera's set up, how everything is, and like night vision and all that. And I look at it, and I just make sure like if stuff flying around and all that, I keep aware of that. If something look different and weird, like coming at like a weird angle or some like floating around and then coming straight back down, I look into it further because that to me will raise like flags to me to look at into it. But usually if something is like very clear and I don't see like no dust around, like a hotel I went to, I saw something that just went around in a circle and it went down, and then something fell off the side of the bed. I looked into that and I believe that was something because it looked weird when I keep replaying it. So I looked at it for like a minute or two straight to make sure, because I don't want to put something out there and then somebody else is gonna be like, oh no, that's this and that. So I'll make sure to look at it, which I know at the end of the day, there's people just going to be calling you out saying it's this because they're non-believers or they think you're faking. That's part of the paranormal side everyone has to deal with.
Hey, Austin, let me tell you a real fast little story.
Yeah.
And most of my investigators, they've already heard the story about 100 times. But anyway, this is one of the things we do with orbs. Okay. We had a situation where we investigated this house, and the entity named Emily was draining the energy from the occupants. So one of my investigators says, Paul, I'm really tired. I don't know what's going on. I feel fatigued. I feel like something's sucking out my energy. I said, I wonder if Emily, the ghost, is doing that to you. I said, sit down. And I said, Emily, if you're listening to me, kiss him on the lips. With 3 cameras, we snap a photo, and there's an orb on his mouth. That showed intelligent movement. And then I said, okay, Emily, listen to me again. I said, if you really love this guy, I go, sit on his lap. We snap a photo, only with 1 camera this time, and there's an orb hovering over his lap. That showed intelligent movement. So now, when I do investigations, I'll put my hand on the wall. I say, if there's a ghost here, a ghost that's actually listening to me, please appear by my hand. And there'll sometimes will be, if the house is haunted, an orb on my hand. And so that's what we go for, intelligent movement on orbs. And it seems to work. And then, I got to tell you this one. Over in Del Paso Heights, there was this one house that we did an investigation, and I took a picture in the backyard, and I got these 2 designer orbs. That's the orbs with all the little intricate type designs on them. And I enhanced them, and it looked like dog faces. I called one of my investigators. I said, what is it you see here? She goes, those are dog faces. I said, yeah. So I went back to the occupant. I said, hey, I said, what is it you got back there? And she goes, I got orange trees. I said, no, besides that. She goes, well, I got 2 dogs buried back there. I go, okay. Take a look at these photos. She looks at the photos and she starts crying. I go, why are you crying? She goes, those are my 2 dogs. Something like that I can deem as paranormal. So, so from what you're describing, it seems like some orbs that you've seen seem like they have intelligent movement, but you got to kind of prove it with a photo or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, Austin, when Paul was saying that, you know, because he's got like so much experience with this. Like you just like, I mean, you can catch a good story anytime. And then I was thinking about you as far as how practical you were talking about when you see something. I mean, with the paranormal, people could hear a creak, they could see a shadow, and they're like, "Oh, say, oh, you know." But you really sound to me like just like any of us would be real investigators, where you think, you know, it really has to be something you can keep qualifying, at least grab a hold with some kind of data, even though that doesn't mean anything, you know. So, but when you have you had anything where just that moment where it said, wow, you know, this is really this is really questionable. I'm not lying to myself. Nobody was here. It's not, because you were honest about the mistake you made with the ice. You know, I thought that was real insightful. The other thing I wanted to say to you real quickly about the demon thing, next time if you're in there, really depending on, you know, some people are religious, some people aren't. And I find that you can talk about the Sumerian tablets, you can talk about the Bible, you can talk about all that, but then there was cats living like 200,000 years before that, man. You think they didn't have any kind of connection? They were doing like trance dances. They were doing shit way advanced, you know. So, you know, people could say what they want, but we got that divine spark, I think, that you could quench any demon if you wanted. But if you're like of mind to call out, you know, who that demon is, or offer it some food or something, say, hey, look, I'm nourishing you. Can you take this evil way? Like there's all kind of spells and rituals they have, like we know that. But
Yeah.
you know, so you know, about how you redirect them, that's cool. But then I was gonna say, so how do you feel about that? And then, like I said, what's your real poignant moment where you felt like, damn, you know, this shit is real?
Oh man. Well, this goes back in North Carolina. This is where other investigators said that there was a demon there at its, I forgot. It was an abandoned nursing home. I couldn't get the home, but it's called a Lexington Nursing Home. It got
Okay.
burned down several times, and I finally decided to demolish it. And the pink room or the pink bathroom, I believe what I read was there's a guy that snatched a little girl, raped her, killed her, and then killed himself. And then what I heard from multiple stories that he's still doing that in the afterlife. And that he's a very bad person that if you call him out, provoke him, or try to trigger him, he'll
Okay.
come after you and you feel like a stab in your stomach. So
Damn.
I like to test theories. So if someone said and other investigators reported that, I'm gonna follow up and try to do what they do. So I started trying to provoke it a little bit because that's the only thing that's really was interesting there. So I started to start provoking it. I wasn't disrespecting it, but I was like, if
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
that's nasty what you did, and
Yeah.
that's not cool. If you're doing that in the afterlife, you need to like let her go, let her roam, let her go to safety, let her just do it. I think he got mad at that. And because the girl came in, it says help me, and it says please on the SB7. So I didn't really hear that because at that time you hear all that static from the SB7. So you're just like, okay, it said something, but I'm not sure. So when I was slowing it down, it said help me, and then it said please. So when I heard that, I kind of feel really bad when I was editing. I was like, I wish I could hear that. But I was trying to help her because I said, here, take my hand, grab my hand. And then all of a sudden, all I felt was a sharp pain in my stomach. And I told the other guy that was there, I was like, I gotta go for a bit. And
Wow.
there's just pain, pain, pain until him and I decided, hey, let's just leave and see how you feel after. Miles down the road, the pain went away. I don't know.
Wow.
I believe it's what I feel because it's
It's
adding
too
up.
coincidental. I mean, too many things stacked up for it to be what you
Exactly.
already thought about. You went there, you premeditated about it. Yeah, there's too much that like kind of lines up for you to lean the other way. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Damn.
And then that's when I really thought like, oh my God, was this an actual like demon that everyone said it was? Because
And there wasn't a mark or anything on you anywhere? Did you happen to look and see or check?
at that point I was very new, so I didn't know what to check. So
Oh,
I was
okay.
learning from other investigators. So I was like, if I'm doing something wrong, call me out on it. Just tell me what I'm doing wrong, tell me what I need to do.
There
I
you
used
go.
to, like everyone else in the beginning, that's like around my age, I was like, was it 5 years ago? So I was 22, 23 years old. I started to provoke. That's what I learned. I was like, then somebody very experienced just pulled me to the side, said, slow down on that. So I've learned, and so I just followed other teams during that time, and I've learned how to provoke and trigger instead of just, going out there and having no brain and just trying to get myself hurt for no reason.
Yeah, that's funny because I used to be the one that even I was the parapsychologist for Paul, and so I would weed out all the crazies that thought that they had, crazy stuff, demons and things in their house. I don't know if he remembers the one we did with Jeff that did the zombie diaries, and boy, these people were crazy. They were pareidolia everywhere. Look, that's a demon face in our carpet. Oh my lord! Look, that's a demon face in our wood headboard. No, that's just the freaking grain. Okay, stop. But I would provoke just to kind of make a point to everybody around that no, this place isn't really haunted. So Paul had come out to the car that night that we were doing that house, and he's like, "So what do you think?" I said, "I think these people are freaking nuts." I was like, they just what? Huh?
Paul, we'll ask you.
Cases are. Right? Most demon cases are nutty people. I hate to say that.
Paul, you remember the last time, Stacy makes a good point. And Paul will ask you that. He'll pull you to the side. But you remember that last time the guy was saying he saw this and it sounded good, but you were looking at me and then he had like a tall can of Foster's. I've never seen a can of beer this big. No, I've never seen, it must be special made or something, right? And he had everything right. You were like, and then he was talking about, that he was on meth and blah, blah, blah. And you were like, I don't know. And so you just Paul short circuit on this one. He didn't even want to hear it. I was like, no, but still, So
and some of these people, they're crazy, and the baptism that I conduct and everything else is a placebo effect. Yeah, and it works because they'll call me later and they said, the demon's gone, Paul, but there was never ever a demon there. It's all in your mind.
That's exactly what we did at that house there. Remember, I went through and I did a Wiccan blessing on the entire house. I used holy water and shut everything out. We used salt. I did the Wiccan protection the way we were supposed to. I didn't have any sage at the time, but I did have holy water, salt, and everything else that was needed. And I'm sure they were just like, oh yeah, everything's so much better now after you guys left.
And yes, I didn't have a sugar pill for the placebo effect, but I, and people would go, Paul, that person's crazy. They said that there's 30 ghosts in their bathtub. I go, how can 30 ghosts be in the bathtub? I mean, this swear, true story. And they said, well, Paul, what are you going to do? Just walk away because they're crazy? I go, no. I'm going to still bless the house. I'm going to still give them a baptism because they're requesting it. And sure enough, the placebo effect works. So
Austin,
no.
We're just going to it on what do we got on time, Phil?
We're under a minute.
Okay, we're going to take a 10-minute. Austin, we're going to take a 10-minute break, and we'll send you another link to finish up the interview.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. See you guys later.
23 seconds. So we'll tell us a 23-second joke. All right.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe and share as much as possible so that we can get all those views.
Check out
on every platform. Share on every platform that you have.
All right, we're going for the second part. And there's Austin Dale. Dale, is that your middle name?
That's my last name.
Oh, that's my middle name. And when I was a child, my sister used to always tease me, and she would sing "Over Hill, Over Dale" as we hit the dusty trail.
Yeah, and I've heard that so many times. This is what's done in the military. They always said that.
And then she would sing "Cuckoo Dale." and it was like a oh God, she would go cuckoo. Oh wait, cuckoo-day-o, 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 cuckoo-day-o. Anyway, I'm getting off topic here. Anyway,
You could.
so behind the scenes, we were talking military talk. We are talking about some of the places you've been to: Fort Lee, Fort Jackson. I've been to Fort Jackson, South Carolina, and yeah, if you ever have a chance, investigate a military installation. I mean, it's crazy. All of them are on it. When I was over at Merrill Barracks in Germany, Merrill Barracks used to be the Nazi headquarters back in World War II. So, and they say that in the basement, a few people got killed, and very haunted place. But all the soldiers were unaware of it back in the day. They didn't care, whatever. I was interested in the paranormal because I lived in a haunted house when I was a child. So
I have a question. So does on-base housing count?
I would think so. Yeah, you never know. I mean, uh, people who died in training accidents and if they lived off base and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, they probably went back to their home.
Because I investigated on-base housing when I was there in Fort Bragg. So
I
that was
Oh, I
yeah.
was going to say that I was on base housing in Beaufort, South Carolina, and that it was really haunted over there. So I don't know if it had to do with the fact that we were so close to water or what, but and we are also I don't know if you guys know anything about the Beaufort, South Carolina uh, naval or the base around there, but the hospital's right on inside the gate. So you had the hospital and then you had the housing over on the other side. So I don't know if maybe if that had something to do with it all either. But all right. So, anyways, yes, definite hauntings there. So I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was on-base housing, so this was Fort Bragg, which is like it's weird how the on-base housing is because it was like a 40-minute drive to the actual Fort Bragg. So they have their own group. It's called Haunted Fort Bragg, or I forgot the name of what the housing is, but I think it's Haunted Fort Bragg housing or something along the lines like that. And everyone's like having like, is your place haunted? Is your house haunted? Is your haunted? So again, my friend that helped me get into the paranormal, him and I was doing a little thing there, and SLS, I was like, reach out, and it felt like the air was off. I turn off the air, I turn off everything so I can feel cold spots if it's something's happening. So SLS, I'll figure on the stairs, and it was saying something like "help me." It was saying a military like "hua" and all that, the army thing. They were saying they were saying the 80-second motto. So I was like, I was part of the third group, so I was like, that little friendly rivalry between militaries. So I was like, I'm third special forces. I'm part of them. I'm third group. I was not. By the way, I was not in special forces. I was just attached to them. I don't want anybody to think I was the elite people. No, that was not me at all. I was just attached to them. I was a cook for them. Just had to make that clear because
Hey, you were the most important part, though, being the cook. I mean, heck yeah.
Man, if they would start shooting at you, you would have been part of it for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Do you think that maybe it's because, I mean, I would think because you said Fort Bragg was that way. I know some of the California bases, the housing was like that because it's so much grief and you guys see war and you see the death and just that energy around that. Do you think, in your opinion, Austin, that maybe it might the the major hauntings on base housing has a lot to do with, the war that's being seen there and the trauma?
actually, yeah, I believe when I was talking to this one guy, and this is where my belief came from, Like I asked the guy if you believe in like ghosts or spirits or anything along the lines like that. He told me flat out, he's like, you live your life, whatever how long you live for. He's like, all those years you have built up energy. He's like, when you die, where does that energy go? He's like, does that energy just phase away like that? Or does that energy stays around? Or does that energy just goes wherever the energy goes? He's like, so I always thought about that, and I always tell people who ask me questions, and so that's what I believe in because that really hit me hard because I was like, this guy got a point. So now I believe in that. So where does our energy go? So I believe if you're did military for a while, your energy
Yeah.
is still with military.
Yeah, all living things have an aura about it. Uh, all living things have energy, and that energy does have to go somewhere. I mean, um, just like reincarnation, a little baby is born upon the world, and in 1890, John Smith, the blacksmith, died. And this little baby is born in the world and with little psychic antennas downloads this energy. And when this little baby is maybe about 3, 4 years old, that little baby thinks it's John Smith of 1890 who was a blacksmith because it downloaded all that energy and that's what reincarnation is. um, the aura or this energy that's around living things, you're known as your soul. And sometimes when people see that soul, they go, "Oh my God, I saw a ghost." They're seeing the energy of that deceased person. And Russians, they taken terminal people, and on the instance of death, they find this mist that comes out of their forehead. That energy lives on forever. Sometimes the energy also connects to the Akashic records and becomes all the knowledge of that person that's now in the Akashic records.
Hey Austin, have you heard of Casadega, Florida?
Yes, sir. Oh, I love
Have you,
that place.
have you been there yet?
I've been to the hotel and I've been to the Devil's Share.
Nice, nice. Now that place, I've been there a couple times too. Have you actually sat down with any of the psychics in there? I know they got like the pictures inside the lobby that you can actually have an appointment with or anything. They do anything like that?
I talked to for a couple of minutes to one sidekick, just talking about like the world and all of that, and that's basically it. I talked about the Devil's Chair. She didn't really much talk about the Devil's Chair. She just really talked about this is like the capital of the spiritual world. That's like here for all the mediums and all that. That's all that she really talked about with me.
Did you go
But
through the ferry trail and all that?
the fairy trail? No, I have not.
Oh, it's right there to the hotel off to the left behind the side street. There's a whole trail where people leave all sorts of stuff. It's called the ferry trail back there.
I have never heard of that.
Yeah, you can look it up there. I'm sure there's
Yeah.
pictures online of it. It's pretty neat. That's I didn't actually get to see the Devil's Chair because that's in a cemetery. Did you actually go and see the Devil's Chair?
Yeah, I have. I'm try to do a nighttime investigation, but they're telling me to come to their board meeting and all that. But I work during that time, so it's hard for me to go up to Casadega and go to their board meeting and try to convince them. But I'm still emailing. Hopefully, one of
Yeah.
those emails works.
Well, I heard like that place shuts down after dark. That's one of those towns you can't even go in after dark. It's just to be
Yeah,
there after dark. So just trying to get into the town, let alone the cemetery after dark, is kind of like a no go zone thing.
yeah. I heard that. It's once the town and the city shut down. That's it.
That'd be pretty cool if you get permission. Oh, that'd be awesome.
I'm trying. I've tried twice. They told me come to the meeting twice, so I'm gonna keep trying. Every few months, I'm gonna email them.
So I saw pictures I think online of the Devil's Chair. It looked like it was made out of brick. That
Yes,
kind of was. So did you
yes.
do any readings or anything around that? You pick up anything?
There's a whole bunch of stories. I don't have no idea what's the main story is. I've heard it's fake. I've heard it's just like, the fairy tale thing. It's just the folklore of it. I just heard plenty of stuff, but over there on the cemetery, there's a lot of military soldiers that's there. I think majority of it is soldiers that's laid to rest there.
It's interesting. Considering it's a spiritualist camp, I'm surprised that there's that much military there. Sorry, Paul. Go ahead.
No. I was just thinking, I wish Phil and Austin would get together, collaborate, and investigate Coral Castle, and then get on an airplane and take the Flight 19th pass through Bermuda Triangle and tell me what the results are.
You trying to get us to disappear?
Yeah, you had us to add leakage in at Coral Castle. That was cool, but then the Bermuda Triangle. Hey, Austin, back to what you said about the energy. Paul, I know Paul was going to say it or Phil was going to say it, but the physics, the axiom in physics that you first learned in your first year, they tell you matter is neither created or destroyed. It changes from one form to another. You heard that one, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So it's like, but that I really think that does apply. Like, I mean, if you think you get peptides, your energy, everything is here. Like, what form is it in? Gas, solid, liquid, or even something different. So, I was, I feel you there. I mean, like, where does it go, right?
And I've always asked that.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, that's my answer. I said I've always asked that question.
Yeah. Well, if you think about it, though, I mean, there's been hauntings where the people are still alive because the energy was so intense. Like this one young lady, her husband or boyfriend at the time used to beat her just to an inch of her life. It was like an every night thing of just constant beatings, and that energy was left behind. So when they had moved out, thank goodness the lady had gotten away from her boyfriend. But when they had moved out, the people that moved in thought that the house was haunted, and they looked into a little bit further and a little bit further, and come to find out, the lady was still alive, and thank goodness. And she was really, I don't know, it's just so weird, how that all works, that you could be haunted and you can leave that kind of imprint behind without even knowing it.
No, experts say that's the most likely scenario anyway. The ones we had on the show as well said that a lot of it's from living more than it is what we consider dead, right, Paul?
Well, check this out. I know a story Stacy's talking about. 1974, Chicago, Illinois.
Yep.
This couple moves into this house, and around about 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning,
yep,
they see a man manifest and walk over to the couch and slap a woman 3 times. And then they dissipate, they disappear. And they saw this about 2 or 3 times. They went to a block party, and the host says, "Yeah, we do this every year." And they said, "Oh, yeah, cool." And they said, "Look at our photo album. You can see our past events." So she's looking through the photo album. She goes, "Oh, my God, those are the ghosts in my house." The host looks at it and goes, "What are you talking about, ghosts?" He goes, "They aren't ghosts. I mean, they lived in your house. They had domestic disputes. The police were there all the time. They got a divorce. The guy lives 5 blocks down the road, and the woman lives out of state. They're both alive." So what she was seeing was the residual effects of this domestic violence in her home.
Yeah.
And it continued on. Yeah. So, and some of our investigations, I've been on like 2,500 investigations. Some of our investigations were residual energy of past events, violence. I mean, we walked in this one house and there was punch holes in the walls. The ghost in that house was the violence that took place in that house.
Austin.
Yes, sir.
what do you think about this? Okay, so we talked about the little physics thing everybody knows, but now they got quantum entanglement, and everybody is saying that what you see is all created from inner, or matter of fact, me and you talking, us, Paul, Phil, Stacy, that's only going on because it's in our mind right now, but anywhere else, it's not going on. And then like we affect our reality with energy if we know, if we stop pretending, we can actually grab and change this energy field. Like, what do you think about talk like that?
Oh man. No, yeah, so what you're saying is like you and I talking is just, it's between our heads and all that, but our outside energy, is that what you're trying to?
Yeah, like it's not even existing like outside of us. Like we can form whatever reality is, and whatever if it's in front of us, it's there because we're seeing, we're formulating it. But in actuality, anything else could be going on. Like, so we could shape our reality with enough energy or enough thought about what's in front of us.
And
So,
you got me,
this
you
is
got
like
me
the
stumped on
latest
that
stuff.
one.
Even though Plato and the Cometians, the people, they've been talking about it, but I don't know that, that's going past the, physics matter, but the physics matter thing where I talked about, matter is not created to destroy, but with the quantum entanglement thing, how they proved that a piece of you, they could take two, atoms of you and send them to different parts of the universe, but no matter what you do, they'll always know what each other's doing, like not a split second off.
They continue to communicate.
So who knows, but what do you think, Phil?
I was about to ask Austin whether he's heard of any UFO sightings because we've had a couple here in Flagwood Beach, and I was wondering if you had any down there in Fort St. Lucie.
Wow. Okay.
So,
Or is
I'm
that
a
not really your bag?
well, it's to me, I'm like, if I see it or like, ghosts, I was kind of like a skeptic a little bit. So I was like, if I do it, is it real? So I had like experience with it, so I believe in it. Now with like UFOs and Bigfoot and all that, I'm more of a, if I see it, if I know what it is, I'll believe it. So it's hard for me to like believe Bigfoot and all of that and UFOs, but I've seen a lot of more of UFO sightings than Bigfoot. So here in my city, they have a thing called SLC scanner, which is like St. Lucie County scanner, which they post a bunch of news, local news around the area. So what they did is a bunch of posts came in about UFOs. A bunch of posts came in about UFOs. It's just random people just, videoing and sending it in and saying, hey, is this UFO? Is this UFO? So those are the only reports I've got. They see weird lights and they don't know if it's a drone or they don't know if it's military, but they see like a bunch of weird lights and how weird it's like moving and all of that. But personally, I've never seen one, but I have seen and heard stories, especially the one in Miami Mall.
Think about, yeah, please. Just you know what? I've been looking at that for a long time. The Miami Mall. Since you're down in that area, do you think it's real or not real? And the fact that you are doing paranormal houses, there are going to be a lot of people that see UFOs, and I would think you would because they're connected. Austin. After a few years, let's talk about it. About 5 or 6 years, or even before that, probably right after we finish talking. But what about the Miami Mall? Please tell me, what do you think about that incident?
There's a
Was it
lot
real?
of me. No, I think it was what I've been mainly hearing is there were a bunch of like teenagers or little older people got together. It was like a huge brawl or something that was going on. That's was
Okay.
the main story I've been hearing. But I have also seen other people saying, so it's basically back and forth. It's basically like what I've seen is basically a nonstop fight. Yeah, it's real. No, it's this,
Yeah.
it's this, it's this, it's this long creature. So I usually stay out of it because it turns into an argument. So I don't like arguing
Well, I
with people.
actually
So
saw the video of the one that was standing outside of the mall.
Walking by the
Yeah.
tree, that looked real to me. That looks convincing.
That was to me it was 100% real. And when I saw it, I'm sorry, I felt so bad for these poor guys and gals. All I could think of was it was a family of aliens that were teleporting on vacation someplace and ended up in this mall, and they're all confused. They have no idea what's going on. It doesn't cross my mind.
Goddamn travel agent.
Yeah, they didn't get the
Teleported
money
to
back.
some place.
Well, you know what? We laugh, but you know, and most people that investigated that, I've seen a lot of guys on YouTube that were legit, had really good channels, and once they mess with that, like their stuff went down. And the
Yep.
other thing is, you know, they talked about some guy that was like saw them and was like kind of mesmerized, like I want to meet you, like you know, I'm curious, and he walked to him, and supposedly like he, you know, collapsed, like short circuited and turned like grayish, bluish, and some lady's nose started bleeding more than he ever saw. You know, you hear stuff like that, but those sound like the far out stories, you know. But
Yeah.
there's been a couple of videos, like you said, like the one that walked outside where they showed.
I felt bad
stuff.
for it. Yeah, I felt
I
bad
don't
for
know.
it.
I don't.
Scared.
But if you see some videos right now where police are getting shot, you don't see that many policemen cars coming like you did at the Miami Mall. And those were just kids with fireworks and fighting. So that's the thing. That was kind of weird too. Because there's plenty of videos right now where the actually officers are down and you don't see that many cars.
You know, that Florida mall thing was just as crazy as that Las Vegas family seeing aliens in their backyard.
Those policemen are they quit the job. One went off on disability. The other one tried to stay for a couple of weeks and he left. It was too much, they said.
Wow.
In Vegas?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, crazy. And yeah, and it makes you wonder when disclosure is going to happen, if it's ever going to happen.
Well, I mean, technically, they already did disclose that there are aliens around here. I mean, how can you not think that? I don't understand why.
They're waiting for the White House to confirm it.
They've always been here.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, they're waiting for Trump to walk right there on the podium and say,
Man.
yes, we are not alone.
But see, Austin with the paranormal, that's why, you know, we still can go get EVPs. You know, we could just, I mean, that's still like something we still have left. I still enjoy getting a good EVP. I really love getting those. What about you, Stacey?
Yes, definitely. Unless they're sad and I'm not able to help them. I did there's a house around here. I'm in Missouri, Austin, if you didn't know, since you don't know where I'm at, but it was the old Prosperity School. It's a regular residence now, but we did an investigation there, and I felt something grab my arm, and we got back home and I got the EVP, and one of the guys that got the EVP said, "Oh, it says this." I said, "No, it's a little kid's voice saying, 'Help me, they're after me.'" And I got chills, and I was like, that was the exact same time they grabbed my arm, and you feel so helpless. And but getting the EVPs, yes, love it. Austin, what's the best EVP you ever got?
Well, I have this device and I didn't really know how to use it because it's in Japanese language. So finally I used I used AI, and then I went to watching other like YouTubers who was doing EVPs with kind of like the same version that I have. So I kind of got the grasp of what was. So now I'm actually using EVPs more often because I used to not bother with it. And it's like, oh, I'm getting nothing from this. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I need to change the settings. It just sounds not right. So I had help by another YouTuber that I copied. I was like, okay, sounds cool now. Sounds actual like an EVP. So now I'm using it more. And I had one over here local. It was over there by the AIS mount where it was settlers. I don't know how long ago, 1800s, I think. Settlers were there. They settled there, but they have the AIS, the Indians there. So they had their mound and they ran the Treasure Coast area and they go up all the way to St. Augustine. I think what they did was, I believe they sell fish and all that. They were like the main source of like selling fish back in the day. And I don't know what I asked. I asked something like, "Are you with us, right? Are you with us?" And it gave us like a warning, like go. Like it was just a random. I'm just like, I played it back, was hearing it, didn't hear it that well, put it on my computer, slowed it down. I'm just like, oh, they're giving us a warning the whole time. And we didn't even know about that.
Yeah, it's kind of well, kind of the same situation as, it's a little too late, I guess.
Yeah, that's
Well, all of us, we decided that we'd do it in the fact of that we would do real time things. I don't know if you've tried that yet or not, but the real time EVPs where you play it back and you listen to it, and
yeah.
then
Yeah, I did
yeah,
that. I did that there, and it was very hard to hear. I had several other
uh,
people around me, and they didn't. They're saying words, but we didn't really know what really was said.
hmm,
So I
Yeah, I
just,
see what you mean. Making too much noise, like people were talking. Like you don't want to be you like thinking you heard something you really didn't. I know what you mean.
yeah,
Paul's good at getting them every time. I mean, you get them by yourself, but like if you're with Paul, usually like seem like we get some that are like undeniable. Also, what do you think about have you tried backward speech? Because like if you tape something and then play it backwards, usually like every 20 seconds, you can hear something in your language pertaining to pretty much what you were doing.
I have
So like
I've
yeah,
never heard about that or seen it.
you should check it out because like if you're like in the room and you're like, you're saying, "Hey, is anybody here?" I was to me, I could estimate that, and it's saying a ghost. Is it a ghost? You hear something that's pertaining to it. It's weird. Like, I mean, it might freak you out. So I mean, I wouldn't advise try it if you don't want to really get freaked out with.
No, I love getting freaked out. That's like the thrill of doing
I,
paranormal is getting freaked out.
Austin, the one that would really freak you out, one of my investigation was in Marysville, and we got to this house, and the guy was demon possessed. He had a drawing, a tattoo, a huge tattoo on his back of Satan. This guy, if you baptize him 100 times, you're not going to get rid of the attachment. He had freaking Satan on his back. Anyway, at that time, we had an investigator, and she was a CHP, California Highway Patrol, in real life. And she didn't believe in ghosts or anything like that. And she was making that announcement. She goes, I just wanted to be on this investigation, see what it was all about. I'm a cop, and I just really don't believe in it. Well, she was attacked by his demon. That demon, she was doing EVPs, and she got an EVP and says, and it said, I'm going to kill you. She totally freaked out. When she got back to her house in Modesto, all kinds of terrible things were happening to her. The demon followed her from Marysville to Modesto and was attacking her and everything else. She had me come down and baptize her whole family in the swimming pool. That guy with the Satan on his back, last I heard, he still has issues and tried to commit suicide.
Whoa.
Yeah,
That is something. That is a crazy story.
yeah. Now that's one of my scariest ones. We've done some other ones that are scary, depressing, and I've actually given them to Ghost Adventures, and we've been on a couple of their episodes and stuff like that. But yeah, I gave Emergency in Elk Grove to Ghost Adventures. That episode, Horror in Biggs, I gave that to Ghost Adventures. So yeah, they get all my crap.
Wow. Yeah,
You know,
that's what
Austin,
I grew up on. Yes, sir.
you know, Austin, you should check out one of our earlier shows. We had like Tim Schwartz. We had a couple of dudes that really tested out a lot of the ghost equipment, and like you'll be really disappointed in like the results of like what they actually say about them. But you will be equally impressed by like really it's your mind, I think, that's working any of this is what you'll find out. But like voice boxes, EVP machines, I mean, EMF machines. I mean, they were like they didn't really put too much credence in any of them, but
Yeah.
they did. Yeah, right. Go ahead. Go.
I'm sorry, Zandy. Yeah, one of the guys was from Ghost Hunters, and the other guy was from Paranormal Caught on Camera. I'm sorry, Zandy. Go ahead.
No. Yeah, I was tell them. You know what I was talking about, Paul. Just that. But we had one of the interesting things we had, Paul. Remember the lady who had the Ouija board that was touch sensitive?
Oh yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool. So like, you can't lie. You know?
Yeah.
People are like, yeah, it's moving. But you know, a lot of the devices they just didn't rate high. But to me, it's just like orbs. You know, you believe in them or you don't. But it seems like for everything we don't believe in, somebody has some experience and maybe you have a little bit with it. But I mean, do we feel it like to where like, wow, we feel the magic can really happen? I don't know.
That's well. I want to. Can I have a question? Can I ask a question?
Yeah, yes. Go ahead.
Do you guys believe there's aliens in Area 51?
Oh, I've actually investigated Area 51.
Do you have?
They're in Area 52. They're in Area 52. They used to be in 51, but they moved them to S4 supposedly.
When I went to Area 51, I interviewed this one lady, and she said that a UFO came to eye level, and she saw a human pilot, and he waved at her, then shot up straight into the sky. She claims up and down this happened. Plus, there's a lot of sonic booms that she was talking about, and there's a lot of secretive aircraft out there. We talked to one man at the Alien, and the guy said, he goes, I used to work at Area 51. And he goes, we used to be brought over there in blacked out windows on a bus. And he said, Bob Lazar was dropped off at S4. He confirmed that Bob Lazar worked at Area 51. So that was great information. I had, we stayed in the parking lot at the Alien. The manager was really cool, says you can go ahead and crash out here. We did a night watch. Some of the investigators said that they saw UFOs. I didn't see them. We investigated an abandoned village near Area 51, and it was haunted by ghosts. We did an investigation there. They took us over there.
Yeah, they're related.
Related. And then
Austin, does Austin know who does Austin know who? Well, I was gonna ask you, does Austin know who Lazar is? Bob, do you know Bob Lazar is, Austin?
Yeah, Austin.
It's weird because this sounds familiar.
Okay.
But
no deal. The thing of it is, just real quick, he was an
Yeah.
engineer that worked at Area 51 when he was a young scientist, hotshot scientist, and they had him working on a UFO, but they didn't tell him. They wanted him to reverse engineer. They tried to BS him and tell him it was one of theirs. And after about 2 weeks, he was like, whoever this is, whatever engineer started this, bring him back because I got nothing for you. And they were like, no, just keep going. And he said, hey, look, don't BS me. Tell me what's the real. So there's a lot of stuff about his credentials being wiped and did he work there? He didn't, but it seems that he did. And he really worked on an extraterrestrial craft. As a matter of fact, he said he saw several of them, different sizes, and ones that they had reproduced as well.
Wow.
Hey, Austin.
Wow.
For the
Listen.
record, I want to believe, so I'll put it that way. We're down to less than a minute. I just want to thank you for coming on the podcast, as I'm sure everybody else does too.
Yes, sir.
As I said before, I give you my number. If you ever want to come back up in the area and you want a tour guide
Cool.
for some of the other stuff, give me a call. And I'll let Paul take us back out. You got to take yourself off mute, though, Paul. I put you on mute when I heard the dog barking.
Oh, yeah. Austin, can people contact you? Real quick.
You can contact us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, anywhere, any social media. We're there.